All right, guys, 1 minute. I will be with all of you. Okie dokie. Let's see who we have in here. All right, we are live on base or on YouTube. So anybody else trying to jump in? Oh, VJ, I haven't seen you in so long. You made my heart happy. Hi. Hi, everybody. Okay, I'm gonna go. We are in 1 minute here. So let me just log in. Welcome to everybody. VJ, okay. Whoops. Okay. All right, if you guys are on YouTube, go ahead and throw me a message in the chat just so I know you're here and who's joining in. There's a lot of you here, so thank you. We are now recording, so if you don't want your words to be heard, be quiet. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to give them just another minute or two. I see a few of you logging in here, and then we're going to get settled. So let's see what I got. Get myself set here, and we are going to go from there. YouTube is live. We are live. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see everybody. I know there's a few people logging in, but I'm just going to kind of start into my typical chit chat on the heels of all the energy that's happening, because it's a little crazy right now. I'm going to sit back a little bit. Here we go. Okay. So welcome everybody to the Truth Tribe. I am Dawn Thompson. If it's your first time or your 50th time onto the Truth Tribe, welcome. It's been quite the week. It's been quite the few days. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna dive right in this week onto some topics that have been coming up, and I'm kind of what I've been going through. I'm gonna blend it in with what everybody else has been experiencing and try to help you all see from the perspective of it's not just you, because it's me too. And
when I experience things and I always forget. You're like, oh, that, this is happening for that person and this is happening for that person. And then I forget it's happening for all of you. So when patterns start happening, that's why I wanted to talk about one of the topics tonight of patterns. So what we're going to talk about tonight is the psychology of being essential and the power of your patterns. And with each of those on those topics, I want you guys to go ahead and throw questions at me in the Q&A as we go. And I'm going to keep them to the end. So don't think I'm not answering them. I totally will. And then at the end, I have Cooped Up Confessions. We have another amazing soul that I love dearly joining us for the confession of what they come out of, whether it's on this topic or anything that's come up for the week. It's totally open game at that time. So if anyone ever wants to ask questions during that time, you are welcome to, and I will bring you on, but you have to be willing to be seen. All right, so let's get started. So I wanted to start with sharing my week. I had been feeling super heavy, super drained, weak, kind of just off, right? And so I went inside and did my meditation, and I do meditation journaling. I close my eyes and I just journal and I write with my eyes closed. And I asked my guides what I was supposed to do with all this demon feeling energy that was coming up. The demons of the past were surfacing, you guys. And so I kind of was struggling with this, like, what do I do with it, right? And the whole week I had the same thing going on. I had so many clients, like, feeling the exact same experience, and that I had prepared basically all of you for last week, right? I prepared all of you and regarding the 4 planets in retrograde and how it was pulling us backwards. And then clearly I forgot and thought I was exempt because I don't experience that, right? And so I totally did. I totally felt it. And I'm not exempt from shifting. None of us are. And that's what's funny is I can teach you what's happening. I can teach you what's going on up there, and I can tell you about the past. And if you did miss last week, go back in. I talked all about the planets and what was happening and how it's pulling us into the past, and it's making us revisit things we don't want to revisit for a good cause, for helping us finally let go and move up and on, right? And so, I shared with you guys basically feeling the past. It was going to pop up up until through July, and then it was going to kind of keep tapering a little bit at a time and in through October. And so the interesting thing that I heard when I was journaling and meditating was shut up and step up spiritually. And so those of you who know me, I'm extremely spiritual. So I was like kind of a little bit like irritated, but my guides are super sarcastic. Typically your guides are going to be very similar to you, your angels or guardian angels. They have your same personality. And so I was just like, they came out with kind of this like, get out of the way and get up, right? And so I was like, well, I'm all of that, right? What do I do? And so basically they said, it's just stop trying. It's time to stop trying and stop expressing and stop fixing and start being. And it's easy to teach that, right? But being stable, a stable, unwavering light inside, not concerned with the outside, actually going to a 10,000-foot viewpoint and observing. And so if you feel others, guys, right now, all of you are picking this up and you feel others and you want to, because most of you are on this call are empathic and you're intuitive and you're evolved. You wouldn't be on these Truth Tribe calls if you weren't, evolving into a higher consciousness. You're open for it. You're ready for it. Right? And so those of you who are evolved on this call, when you start feeling that inner need like I do, that you want to help, instead, they told me, move to the observing and shining an example of peace. Okay? So I was like, all right, well, let's do this, right? And so that's kind of what calmed me down a little bit within the situation of understanding. But then I had to kind of look at it from the perspective of how is everybody seeing this? All right, so let's start with the first topic. That's kind of what opened me up. Yes, I was feeling heavy. Yes, you're all feeling it. No, you're not crazy. Yes, this is happening, and it is happening globally. This is not a United States, in your city, in your home kind of thing. This is bigger than you. And it's going to be for the greater good, and better things are coming. So please trust that. Okay. So the psychology of being essential. This is a big topic right now. All right. So here's the word essential. I want you to think of the word essential, and I want you to think, what does nature, in nature, in the universal nature of going into the woods, going into nature, what does nature consider in the cycle of life essential? And the answer is all of it, you guys, all of it. It's all essential. You can see where I'm going to go with this, right? So I want to discuss what essential says to people energetically more than physically. Like energetically and psychologically, what does the word essential say to you? And so I'm bringing this up because I personally got triggered by this week. And why? Because according to external egos that be, they basically, deem and consider that my husband, who is a builder, and thank God they said this was good, is considered essential, but my mental health business is considered non-essential, right? And so no one really was going to stop me, and no one has stopped me, and I've been busier than I've ever been, and this is wonderful, right? But unfortunately for the rule makers or the people who determine this energy, I don't follow the rules. So that's the good news, and I'm going to teach you all to do the same, right? So luckily I had this amazing mama, that raised me, that basically Kant was unacceptable, and that I'm always essential, and I've always been essential, right? And so I've never known anything other than anything you do is important and it is essential. And so I want you to think about it in nature, right? And now let's just get out of nature in the Tao. Those of you who know Taoism in the Eastern culture, the Tao teachings, everything is essential and you are nature. And so I want you to never allow another human in your lifetime to label you non-essential. Because I realized when I tap in, I do not go on social media as much as it looks like a lot of my clients and friends are like, you're on there so much, Dawn, and I'm really not. I have an assistant who posts a lot of what I build. I build it, I have it, and then it's on a timeline. But I do post, right? And I see when you're all posting back, and I'm grateful. But I don't dive in too much because I don't want to fall into the heaviness. It's very heavy. And what I've realized is so many people are allowing others to decide their worth and their essentialness. Guys, this is the I deserve it truth tribe. I deserve it is your self-value and your self-worth. I would never allow any of you to even accept anywhere near the word non-essential. So yes, it did make me laugh, but I was more triggered by other people who were deemed or told or said you're not essential. And it wasn't that I could stop it, right? So that was the energy that we've been picking up, is not to try and get people to fix them, right? And so think of it from this perspective. Society is programmed not to feel pain. Okay, this society's been programmed that for a long time. So it's catapulted us into this emotional poverty, right? We're so programmed to take a pill or to avoid pain that now we're seeing the aftershock of 30 years of numbing the pain and numbing the emotion. And we're so afraid to feel pain that when we do, we're obsessed with dismissing it or stuffing it, back down where it does more damage, right? And then we resort to taking a drug and I don't even mean it needs to be, a drug that's illicit. It could be just over the counter or something to help us, right? Or creating obsessive habits or using words of dismissal that just devalue your feelings. And we've been talking about this a lot because what's happening is those planets and the energy are bringing up feelings of emotion and experiences that we're like, I don't want to feel. My answer is when we feel them, and we dive deep in, it changes the game. So I want you to understand, allowing pain to surface gives it the respect of the teacher that emotion really is. It's the mover and the shaker of your soul. Okay, so remember that. Pain is the teacher. Pain is the mover and shaker of your soul. It says, by the way, wake up. You're not doing what you're supposed to be here doing. And if you're avoiding your demons, and the demons typically are painful, right? You avoid the triggering of your essential purpose. You heard the word essential. It's essential. And the purpose to wake up, and essentially why you're here, and your essential energy and your contribution into this lifetime. And so those demons that are popping up for everybody are part of your karmic journey. And I want you in pain at times so I can get you to move to higher ground, which is what I taught you all the first time we did this live free Truth Tribe call, which was we are ascending to a higher vibrational plane. Can't happen if you guys are all in heavy, dense, demon, negative, depression, heavy energy with emotions that aren't being felt. Can't happen. You have to be lighter, right? And so if you can remember this, that we are all nature, and you all began, right? When it comes to nature, you all began as a seed of life force energy. And you're no different today than you were in the energy that began in the womb. You're just bigger and more programmed. That's all that's different. But many of you lost your way growing up, right? In the external that basically was deeming you non-essential. So if you've accepted your life in any way, or your purpose, or your vibration and feelings as non-essential, you will feel what's happening on the planet right now, heavier emotional poverty more than ever. And it's just because your programming is that way. It doesn't mean you should, and nor do you have to, right? And if you weren't taught that you were essential, I deserve it, I deserve to have more, or do what I am and be who I am, you're going to be feeling a little bit lost and confused and duped maybe, and disappointed. And my answer is vibrationally, this is creating a psychology for people thinking, now what's wrong? Oh my God, something's wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with you. Remember this, guys. Nothing is wrong with you. You are all so perfect and amazing and perfect in nature and so essential. So this storm that we're all going through, and that's just the best way I can describe this. It's a storm. It's an energy storm. Like all storms, is going to run out of energy. And it's going to run out of anger. It's just going to. That's the way it's going to happen, okay? And it's going to reset into this new grid of energy, and it will realign the planet, and you will participate at the level of your new essential choice. Now, you all chose to come in with this higher purpose, with a purpose, an intention, a life journey. Now, if you avoid it, when you avoid that purpose, it starts to get heavy on you because you're not living in truth. You're living other people's truth. So that essential choice is really what I'm trying to get you guys to open your mind up is, it is a choice. It's called a choice, and it's called free will. And it's called free will for a reason, right? So are you open? Are you opening your eyes and your mind to a new paradigm? It doesn't mean your truth changes. It doesn't mean your purpose changes. It means the paradigm of how you learned when you were young is changing. Okay. So only things that are going to start coming to you at this point right now, in this new spiritual step up and spiritually get up to a higher level, only filling it up with things that fill your well, right? Things that give your emotional and spiritual vibration pure power. So anyone, guys, and I know this is happening on the planet right now, and I kind of found it fascinating. Anyone can shut down a church, a box, a building full of boards and bricks. Anyone can. And trust me on this, those of you who are spiritual, and I'm not banging religion because I love God. I am as purely spiritual as they come. So trust me on this. This is going to continue, right? And it will continue to move us out of religious boxes. I call them boxes, religion and boxes, right? To become expanded into God consciousness, source consciousness, where no one can stop you from accessing source at all times. Whatever you call source, spirit, source, universe, whatever God you call God, whatever universe you call universe. There are many universes that you could be living on right now, and we can come and go as we please. The problem is we've gotten so egoed down and heavy, it's hard for us to move. And it's hard for us to question everything. And my answer is intention, it's going to break it all open. Okay. And so my husband laughed at me, and I think my husband's on this call. He laughed at me a couple of years ago, and I said, I just mark my words, within the next 10 years, you're going to see religious boxes, or the structured control form of religion, crumble. And he thought religion would go away because we were both very spiritual. And this is what's happening. Look what's happening. It's not God crumbling. God is getting bigger. So right now, I want you all to think of this from a perspective. No one can block your emotional and spiritual truth. No one. Okay? No one can take your spiritual beliefs away. What you have right now is the power to make your emotional and spiritual power 10x, like the exponential, like exponential explosions happening right now. It's huge. Okay. And so your inner world at full power will basically level any external bully. And a lot of us go, but look what they're doing to me. And my answer is it doesn't matter if this is in full power. This in here, the heart energy and the heart space. Okay. And I know a lot of people will ask, it's like, I've been asking all of you to look at these retrogrades, and I know like Dawn, okay, I'm going to look at the planets I don't understand, right, for days, right? And I said, basically respect them when they surface your demons, or they bring up the past for you, right? Because this has been happening for all of you as well as myself, not just me. I was just sharing that at the beginning, but it's happening for everybody. And so just because I went into that meditation, it wasn't what I expected, to be honest with you. Because when I ask, what do I do? Like, what do I do to share with everyone? I ask all the time, what does everybody need to hear? And the answer was nothing, just be, right? And that was my answer. So the way I process this out from what I teach, which is it's time to stop living out old, infinite, poopy demon loops, energy loops. This is infinity loops that we keep playing. We're playing in and out, all this energy. What I put out comes back. If I put out and it's poopy and I skip the beat because I don't like it, comes back to me, okay? We have an option of playing what energy loops we want to play now. Now we're in a higher dimension. Now we can pick. So I'll call them the poopy loops, or we can pick the higher expanded vibe loops of energy. Which one do you want? The old poop or the high vibe, the lightness? And so why is this happening? And why is it happening this way? And why is it so intense? We are breaking emotional and spiritual restrictions right now. Hands down, that's what's happening. Let me repeat that. We are breaking old, controlled emotional and spiritual restrictions. Okay. So it's going to lessen the need for drugs to numb anxiety, because it's going to be okay to feel what we feel. It's lessening the need for a box or a building to talk to your God. And we're going to be opened up to new avenues in new ways. And the question is going to keep asking you, what do you need? Is what we need to do is learn how to practice changing our practice, changing our inner practice, changing our external practice. What is our new practice to incorporate both emotional and spiritual expansion? What do we need to do? That is the question. And so what I want to open up to you guys tonight is you all have a chemical within your body, and it's called DMT, and it's referred to as the spirit molecule. Okay. And they've replicated it. it's as a pharmaceutical drug, not pharmaceutical, but they replicated it to be able to do something you can take. It's like a psychedelic, okay? But it's not easy to access for a lot of people. And so my simple answer is, why not access it naturally on your own, right? So it's DMT, tryptamine, dimethyltryptamine. DMT is what it'll be referred to. And basically it's a hallucinogenic. It's a tryptamine drug that occurs naturally in many plants and animals, right? But it's also referred to, as I said, the spirit molecule. And due to its intense psychedelic experience, some hypothesize or think of it as that it has the potential to be found in every living organism. And I believe that, because spirit is in every nature living organism, right? And so DMT then got researched, and it was found to be naturally occurring in the human body. And it was found in large quantities in the cerebral spinal fluid, right? And it's thought to be produced mostly in the lungs and the eyes, where you would feel, experience the psychedelics of seeing things. And so breath is a stimulator of consciousness, of spirit. Consciousness is perception. What do I perceive as real or not real? What am I awake to? Am I awake to the higher self within me? Are you awake to the higher self within you? Not outside of you, not consciously what's happening out there, not what the world that you're experiencing through your eyes, unless you are seeing it on the grand scale at the 10,000 viewpoint. So the simple way to learn to awaken your consciousness is by expanding your inner truth, becoming conscious in the perception of what your inner truth is here to do, okay? Lower consciousness, guys, basically is like ego-based. Controlled, programmed consciousness doesn't allow you to expand out to infinite possibility, to infinite opportunity, to infinite ways of living, to be essential. All right. And so by expanding your DMT or spirit, by breathing, you expand your truth. And I'm watching people, and I do this myself, we don't breathe. We don't take in air. We don't diaphragm breathe. We're not breathing enough. And when you take enough breaths, and if you can do this, I teach this in my classes, for 6 cycles, 60 seconds, it'd be like 60 cycles. You start to get lightheaded. You start to bring oxygen, universe. The external becomes internal, and you become brighter and lighter. And so DMT, guys, the simplest way to look at it is, if it's always in your body, it's released during theta states of thinking, which there's no thinking, but right, your mind is in a theta state. And theta is basically when you're sleeping or in a meditative state, or when you're in this breathing state. You'll get lightheaded and you'll kind of be in this openness state, right? And so when you're sleeping or in meditation, you feel great, right? I mean, I don't know anybody who doesn't feel pretty great when they're in one of those states. And so when you feel great, then that's expanding you. And then you start radiating greatness. And then you become, as I've repeatedly asked you all to do in this Truth Tribe, ongoing for weeks now. Probably for 2 months even, now that we've been going through this. I don't remember when we started this, March, April, May. Wow. We've been doing this a while. So for a couple months, I've been asking you to do one thing, which is to be the lighthouse. And that was the message from my guides. Again, be the lighthouse, not just be a light worker. And I'm the reason I say this, because a lot of us will hear, oh, you're a light worker. I don't want you to go out and do work anymore. That's not what my guides are telling me. They're saying, stand in place. All right. Don't move. Don't change. Just shine your light of source consciousness, pure spiritual love. How about that? Now you don't have to move anymore, right? So this is not religion, but this is divine source consciousness. And it is growing, guys, to a level that will light the world so bright, even the darkness, even the dark demons, even the darkness that's showing up externally or in your personal emotional state, it's going to light it up. But we've got to work on this. Okay. So setting your intention with your personal DMT into your lighthouse settings, that's what I want you guys to start thinking. So the way I work through this is if I'm off, I ask my emotions, what are they teaching? And I find the light in them. I don't try to avoid them anymore, right? I set myself to the unconditional love grid at all times. So if I'm on a grid of energy, and I know this, and this is how I teach everybody, I have to make sure at all times I'm on this loving grid, and I'm not, again, I'm not promoting taking, by the way, synthetic version of DMT. I just want to make sure I put that clear out there, because people are like, oh, I got to go get DMT. No. I want you to ignite it within. You have DMT within you. We are all waking up and we're realizing we can stimulate our own nature within. All right. And it's in plants and it's in us. It's in source consciousness. It's inside of all of you. Okay. Inner peace is what is so essential right now. I cannot stress it. It is all about you, which a lot of people are like, Dawn, you're kind of teaching being selfish. I am so teaching being selfish. I'm so teaching you to stand steadfast in your, be a lighthouse and don't move, utilizing your inner truth. You all know what you're good at. Go be good at that, right? Because your inner truth will dissolve all that is not your truth. Okay, not going out there trying to fix them. That's a big piece for everybody right now, okay? It's in here to bring source consciousness or enhance your inner DMT, okay? Just 1 second, guys. Let me just do this, making sure. Making sure I can still see you guys. Sorry about that. I'm making sure I can still see you guys on YouTube. I can. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Okay. So we're here to bring our source consciousness to a lighter and bigger state. Okay. And enhance this inner DMT. Now, how do you do that? Because there's like, oh, this is well and good, Dawn, but really, am I going to go just turn on this chemical reaction within myself? Yes. Yes. It's kind of like asking, what would DMT do? It would look for spirit. It would look for God in everybody. It would look for another dimension and another reality, another truth that is more loving and more kind and more abundant, right? My initials, you guys are going to laugh, are DMT. I am the spirit molecule, and I'm going to push you guys to this, breaking this emotional and spiritual poverty we've been in for the last 30, 40, even 50 years. Okay. And so if you're stuck, you can basically say, what would Dawn do? What would DMT do? Raising your spiritual truth at this point raises the vibration of all those around you. At the supermarket, at the airport, at the salon, at the restaurant. I've been getting a lot of heavy stares for the last few weeks, and it's been more calming in me as I see the eyes around me questioning my lighthouse, because it's expanded, it's big, and it's expressing itself to the rest around me, right? I don't belittle others. You all know me well enough to know I don't belittle. I DMT others. And I know that sounds funny, but I do. I literally imagine that my heart is like y'all remember the Care Bears? Remember the 90s? Remember the Care Bears? And they had all the different Care Bears, and they had all these different hearts, and they all projected different things. So I literally imagine my heart like a Care Bear sending out source light and love to other people. Because there's a lot of people in fear that have been programmed to see with their eyes and not with their hearts. Those of you who are on my IDI text, you all got that today. Or maybe I was on Facebook. I don't even remember where I posted it. Right? And so your heart is the epicenter of your DMT. Your spine is flowing with source love and source light and source DMT energy. My lighthouse shines from my heart. Okay, it doesn't shine from the top, which a normal lighthouse would. Maybe your eyes, maybe your smile, maybe your vibrance. But it's very important. All of you keep asking yourself, am I going to go out there and help them? I'm going to go out there and change them. I'm going to go out there and tell them they're wrong. No, that pain will show up to help them move. And then they're going to look at you and go, my gosh, you're so bright. You're so light. How are you doing it? I want to be like that. I want to feel bright like you. I want to feel so stable and strong. Show your Care Bear stare. Show your DMT stare. Send your DMT out. I know it sounds comical, but it's your literal Care Bear heart. Like opening up caring means you staying stable, right? And so my tip is make, just as simple as it sounds, an intention for your personal DMT to be released, your spirit. Okay? And reminding yourself that every day you are source energy with an essential role on this planet to raise this God and or spirit frequency to a higher level. What are ways you can do this? People think it's so basic and like this isn't going to work, right? But again, you can use my tool, meditative journaling. I have my journal, so I write pretty big on the pages because I'm just writing as we go. My eyes are closed. I ask source, I ask my angels, I ask my guides, what do I need to know? What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? Show me how to be my highest good today. And then I write down what I get. Regular meditating, that's just silent and quiet and you're doing nothing. Intentions, an alternate reality grid of manifesting, and the 5D meditation on Easy Street. That's on the YouTube channel. So if you're on this YouTube, it's there. It's 11 minutes, guys. I do it every night before bed. Thymus thump. Those of you who have tried, everybody put your knuckle right now on your thymus. It's right here on your sternum. If it's sore, it needs help. This wakes up your immune center. It wakes up your immune system. It wakes up your heart, and it wakes up and breaks open your heart center of chakra energy. Okay, so this thymus thump ignites immunity and it opens your heart. And so it's going to open up your energy space as well. So if you're feeling heavy, you're low, and it's probably sore for some of you, don't take it it's not anything bad. Most people don't open it up daily. The next thing I want y'all to remember is that intention trumps any infection. Your intention is to be loving and high consciousness and truth and healing and immune. Your mind and body will shift with the intention of who you choose to be and not who you're choosing to fall into, especially in the unprogrammed mind. I love that, Brandy Jo. I'm going to share that at the end. I just saw what somebody just posted. It's so good. Okay, so especially for the unprogrammed mind. So I need y'all to understand, a lot of people externally that are frustrating or disappointing or kind of like, why are they making choices I don't like? Because their minds maybe haven't been programmed. If you haven't worked on programming your mind at a level of higher consciousness and higher open-mindedness and higher spiritual truth, and you haven't made an intentional, non-negotiable, I deserve it, mantra, it's hard because life will take you by. You chose to come onto this planet and change it. Those of you who are on this call, there are a lot of you, and I'm grateful for all of you. And like I said, we're going to keep growing this bigger and bigger and bigger. I am not looking back anymore. But I want you to know that if they haven't been programming their mind to go to higher consciousness, it's hard. They don't know any better. So if you're programmed to believe that you have no power, your mind is the first place to begin healing this journey, right? We have to go start an intention of saying, simple as it is, I'm going to be a lighthouse. I'm going to fill myself with love and joy and things that make me feel good. And I'm just going to share it out to the world. And this happens in my work so much. I often get told, like, Dawn, I'm so weird. And I just don't think there's someone out there for me, relationships, right? And my answer is I'm weirder than all of you on this call. Hands down. And if there's a perfect someone for me, God bless my amazing husband. Honey, I love you if you're on this call. I saw him pop down, but I couldn't see him anymore on the list. You know, God bless him. I'm only accepting all of you to have the same, which is the most amazing, brilliant, I deserve it life you can. And it's really a matter of us staying intentional. Okay. So I want you to understand, if you have not done the work to get into a healthy relationship with yourself, any partner, any friends, any relationships, any girlfriends, any guy friends, any children that join into your life, just know that if they have not done the work either, let's just say you're going to get married to them, or you're hanging out with this person for a long time, or spending a lot of work with them. You're marrying their iPod. Those of you who know what the iPod is, if you don't understand what the iPod is, here's an even better version, even harder to imagine. You're marrying their parents, right? So it's either two partners with this ironclad mission and mind programming of your own and saying, I'm going to win at love and win at DMT and win at consciousness and bring myself to an awake state. Or you have two people with parental missions, and they each are on an intention to create a relationship that their parents had. And I guarantee most people don't want the relationship that their parents had. It doesn't make it wrong. I love telling people your parents are amazing, no matter what they did. But this is totally your choice on relationships and energy that we get into the world. If we don't hold ourselves steady and say, this is who I choose to be, I choose to grow. Okay, so the spiritual path is one that you can watch from this point forward, guys, from that 10,000 viewpoint, but not avoid being light or the lighthouse while you're in the 3D plane. 3D is this plane, okay, this hard plane, okay? Okay, so that is the, essential rule. You are all essential. Non-negotiable. I will not accept hearing that from anyone on this call or anyone else I speak with, because you guys are so freaking amazing and we are all nature. All right. So it's time. It's time to wake up and realize that we are going to get better. Okay. Let's go to the next topic, and it's going to be a short one. And then we're going to bring on my live call. Okay. So your power is in your patterns. What does that mean? It's going to be kind of short because I think you're going to get it quick. And what's really cool about this is patterns. This is my nerdiness coming out. I love patterns. I love watching things repeat and going, oh, isn't that cool? Like, it's just so validating, right? And I love showing you how powerful they are. And what patterns do you see in your life repeating? And so I want to ask all of you to look at that, right? Your mind can ruin your life if you let it. And that's that programming your mind I was asking y'all about. Your mind can program or can ruin your life if you let it, right? By outdated beliefs and their impact when you're blinded by your old repeating patterns. This is the demon stuff I was telling you that's coming up. I'm calling them demons just because shadows, dark, skeletons, whatever you want. They just, to me, they're like scary demons. So old beliefs can't last past their shelf life, guys. It's just that simple. Okay. So eventually they just won't work. Right. And so guess what's surfacing right now for everyone? Outdated beliefs that need to be moved to a higher frequency. It's not simple, right? So it's up to you. You have a choice of changing to the upgraded higher consciousness of belief today, or waiting until it's painful enough and then you're going to be forced. It's like decide or be dragged, right? It's one of those. So either way, it's super okay. Like, I'm not downing, like I said, I'm not going to belittle anyone because I don't think one way is better than the worst. It's super okay to be in dial-up internet still. I don't even know if it's an option, but I think some people still try, or only accept like Ethernet gigablast where it's like super high speeds. Okay. Learning where your success blocks show up, and it's simply just looking at your repeating patterns, right? Looking for those repeating patterns that are up for renewal right now, and then learn to live in your power, to start filling in this vessel. Because the sad truth is, guys, we were all broken before this heavy storm shift happened. This is an energy storm and an energy shift. The whole planet's going through it. So this isn't just a United States thing, or this isn't one country, it's the whole thing. And it's simply reviewing how broke we really were on all levels. You can't fix something until you know it's broken, and then it's time. So this is a really great thing, right? And so some of you may have more to heal and fix that was broken that you kept avoiding. And then some might have less to work on that, you know, and you already know yourself really well. And some of you, you might have to get to know yourself better. But no level is better. Let me be very clear. It's just where you are. It's just where you are. And that's super okay as well. All right. But this pressure, I want you to all understand, is bringing up your patterns, and it's presenting itself right now. So this high pressure to get you to move is presenting itself, and it's igniting a catharsis that will be the new us. It's going to be the new us, and it's going to be lovely. It's going to be beautiful and wonderful, and it's going to be so great. And so I want you all to understand that this is not fun probably for a lot of people, but I'm telling you, it's going to be better. And it has to get intense before we can get it lighter. And we're letting go of all this old gunk. Okay. So let me go over the tips of the night, and then I'm going to bring on our guests, and I'm going to answer the Q&A. Okay. So my tips for the night, these were what we recovered, or what we reviewed and discussed. Number one, never accept others determining if you are essential. Ever. You are all 100%. This entire planet, everyone on this planet is essential to the process of it functioning. So no egocentric mind telling you are not. They're wrong. And I will always find a way out to make sure I make myself essential to who needs me. And your purpose is being needed right now. So please find those people and be purposeful and be essential, because they are needing you. I promise. Number two, spiritual and emotional poverty is dying right now as we speak. It will take a while. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to be like an overnight thing. But what are you willing to end so you can reset your paradigm? It's going to be important. At least asking yourself that question. Number three, lighthouse yourself and allow yourself to DMT others. Care Bear Stare, Care Bear Share, like send out the DMT, which again, remember, I'm just using it as the title, but it's the spirit. Send out your spirit, okay? And then the last, number four, was what are your repeating patterns that you need to be reviewed and renewed? And saying, if that's where we're going, and I have to lighten up and I have to fill myself, I have to acknowledge it within me, and I have to get into a better relationship with me. Because if I don't like those patterns, they're mine, and they keep repeating for a reason, to get you to fill in yourself and get to know you. Okay. So tonight, I usually leave you guys with two simple questions, but tonight I'm going to ask you all to live at a higher vibration. All right. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to ask you all, when we're done, to go get a dry erase marker, no Sharpies, dry erase, so you can erase it. We've talked about this quite a bit on last calls. And write on your bathroom mirror when we end this call. And what I want you to write is, I am an essential being. I am an essential being, always. I am a DMT lighthouse, and I deserve it. Those three lines, I just want you to write that. I am an essential being, I am a DMT lighthouse, and I deserve it. It's so important that you all hear this, because I never want anyone to feel that they're not worth it. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So someone said, Care Bear, perfect right now for my 10-year-old. Yes. If you are all hearing this call, guys, and if you know kids or have kids around you, it's important that you guys start sharing that with them, that, you allow them to understand that they're no different. They're lightening up. They need to open up and fill their lighthouses, and then share that love out. That's what makes you more powerful, is being the light, not trying to fix people, being the example of what it is to be bright and spiritual and higher truth and love yourself and feel the emotions and let people go, it's going to be okay. Okay, guys, I'm going to invite a guest on. We're going to do this for about 10 minutes. So let me move her in and let me bring her in. Just one second. All right, here we go. Let's see if she can join us here. Hi, Jill. I can't hear you. Hold on. Do I have you muted? Are you turned on?
Oh,
hold on.
Loaded question, sister. You know me.
Okay, my fault. Okay, I didn't have you turned on. Hi.
How are you?
I'm super. How are you? Okay, everyone. Welcome, Jill, this beautiful, amazing being. So we're going to have some questions. So all right, here we go. My questions for you. Join us here. Just a second. I am getting a feedback here. One second. Hold on. I can't hear you. Hold on. Do I have you muted? Are you turned on? Hold on. Oh, hold on. Thank you. Okay, I'm back.
You know me. I've been taking notes. Of course, I have a whole bunch of questions.
Okay. Let's see here. All right, let's get back. All right. So, are these questions regarding tonight, or is it in general, or how can we start the questions for you on the Q&A? Because as you know, everything's open game. So what would you like to talk about?
Well, I think first just to go back to when you were talking about spiritual and emotional poverty is dying. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight.
No, overnight.
I mean, so would you give us some examples so that it's of what that looks like as it's dying? Because there can be a lot of tension in the same household. There can be tension with friends outside of the house. There, can be within families, even if they're not near you. I mean, in all sorts of varied ways. So what would be a great example? It all started,
it's such a good question, because this all started by forcing us all back together and talking, right? Just being families, right? And what we don't realize is none of this talking took place in the past, which many of you have seen this. Now, it's possibly on the news, it's possibly being put out there, but one of the big problems is that we've been numbed by just antidepressants for a good 20 years or more, right? And so when you're doing that, it doesn't make it wrong when it's an extreme version, but when we're just doing it just to pop them because we're like, I'm feeling anxiety, well, we don't have anyone else. And so this emotional presence, people are starting to acknowledge and go, we need to allow people help. We need to talk. We need to open up. And so is it going to be at the level we all want it right now at the moment in our house and talking with the family? Probably not. We're not going to be fast. I know you, and you're asking for like, how is this going to get fixed tomorrow at home? And it doesn't always get fixed immediately. But my answer is if you look from the 10,000 viewpoint, you start to see people are actually waking up to realize there's a lot of heavy emotion out there that we haven't dealt with. And we're not talking about because it's just been avoided and ignored, and we've been focusing on the wrong things. So now people are talking, and they're talking about things they've never talked about before. And you probably are too. Have you noticed that you're talking about things you probably would have never talked in discussions?
Absolutely. And I found that, even with discord amongst some other family members, they've been forced into talking because they didn't like something else going on.
Right.
So it brought them together, and they've actually healed it and have exceeded my hope about where they would go. So that's been very exciting.
So it's happening like that. It's very small doses, but just know that it's happening, and it'll keep going and going and repeating to the point where people are go, it was kind of nice when we were all together and we talked. Oh, then let's do it again. Oh, it was kind of nice when you and I sat down. We hadn't seen each other in a while, but we shared so much. Oh, so we kind of are waking up to it, right? And so my answer is it's dying the fact that it's been shut off, right? We were all together, and now people have been pulled apart, and they're realizing they're not like, we're not allowed to talk, we're not allowed to be together, we're not allowed to be, 6 feet apart. And that's starting to irritate people going, but I need it, right? I need to feel the emotion. No one has ever not felt what a hug feels like. Right. And when you hug someone, it releases chemicals in your body, oxytocin specifically, and the oxytocin flows and you feel high. And so I try to tell people, you got to get high on life. Not, we're not here to try and figure out how to take drugs anymore. We're learning how to get the DMT share, right? and
Oh,
then
yeah,
trying to learn how to get high on oxytocin and dopamine and all these things on our own, we can stimulate those if we do it in the right form.
that makes sense. You had also mentioned, of course, the lighthouse, which is something you and I have talked about before, and you've mentioned
Right.
before on other calls. And, when you were talking about, saying what it would look like, but what happens in the heat of the moment?
What do you mean?
You're trying very hard, to be stable, to be calm. And then you just, something happens and it's almost like somebody took something and took a brick out of your lighthouse side or something. Do you know what I'm saying? Just, I mean, you can do it in the grocery store. Well, at least most of the time, when somebody's looking at you like, you're not wearing your mask. And, you just smile and, say hi, and you're very polite and you just go about your business. But in the heat of the moment, can you address that and how to be still the lighthouse?
Well, sometimes, like I said, this is the pain thing. Sometimes we do need to argue, but getting back to your lighthouse and go, when we're arguing with someone, the first instinct is to want to fix them, like to want to help them feel better, or you're angry, or you didn't do something wrong. You're like, I'm not guilty. And you plead not guilty instead of going, I plead love. And like, well, okay, even if it's not my fault, what can I do to make it better for you? Like, I didn't even know, I didn't think I did something wrong, but maybe I did, and that upset you. And I don't care as long as we feel better in love. And that's the spiritual enlightenment I'm talking about with being this lighthouse, is just standing steady and understanding that you're going to get poked and you're going to get pushed and you're going to get, the storm around the lighthouse is going to get hit. It doesn't mean you're exempt from experiences. It just means that you guys are all here at a level that's higher, in a higher vibration and a higher experience of saying, look, I do know I have to step lighter. Doesn't mean you're not going to get in an argument or get frustrated. As I shared at the beginning of the call, I got super triggered by this whole essential thing. I can't imagine people who are being told they're not essential and they're okay. Like, I know they're not okay with it, because my heart is like, well, whatever they do is essential to feeding the cycle of life for their whole family or their children or their whatever. And that is something that is psychologically damaging to people when they think they're not valued or worth it. And so it's the same thing with being the lighthouse. If you know this lighthouse is essential to staying in a loving space, even if it was your fault, or maybe it's not your fault, but just loving someone, it's not my fault that someone is fearful of this experience in this storm that's happening out there. I can't teach them to program their mind, but I can show them what it looks like when I've programmed my mind for so long.
Right. That makes sense.
That's what I want you to open your mind to, is you might fall down, but you got to get back up and go, I'm a lighthouse, doggone it, and I'm going to share my DMT with you. And they'll be like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Jill.
It's great that you mentioned all this too, because, you and I talked not long ago earlier about that article in Forbes magazine. And one of the things that I found in there is they talk about how, important everybody is, and how when we have lost that, it's very debilitating. So, and very demoralizing. And I'm really, actually, after reading that article, I'm super thankful that you've, this has been what the talk.
It's so important. And I cannot stress to anyone who's around you, or, around all of us, is to remind people that when they're questioning, like, I don't know, or in their, we're all going to fall victimhood. We're all going to fall a moment. We're going to have a day. And I would rather you fall for an hour or a day, but not weeks and months, and turn this into a catastrophe that doesn't need to be, because it is going to be a better place, because there are so many of us wanting to shine light. And that's the important part.
Thank you.
Right? Anything else?
No, I wanted to ask you about that. Well, I guess you had also mentioned, just in terms of becoming more conscious, would you want to give an example? I mean, I look at this, I ask myself that every single day, how can I just be a little more awake or a little more aware, try to, be a little more proactive or positive, but to become conscious of, what I am thinking, and how to translate that in a positive way versus, taking yourself down.
Yeah, so. just looking at your patterns. Right. That's the consciousness. Is, again, I yes, you all know on these calls that I've taught so many different versions in your chart and your astrology, and we can look at so many deep layers. But at the end of the day, just look at your patterns, and what keeps repeating. And when that shows up, going, you know what, I think I'm done with this pattern. And I'm conscious of it now. And so now that this pattern's showing up, now I'm the one who has the free will and choice to live on a different dimension of time and space, or living on a different grid line, or living, and I'm taking you guys way big here, like there are multiple dimensions of time and space, and we choose to live in alternate realities. And so just so you all know, we're living in a reality, whether it's the crappy version of our reality or it's the amazing version of a reality. And some of us don't even know we've chosen the crappy version because we're so habitually patterned into that, right? And so this is a big mindset kind of shift. This is a big paradigm shift, and people are not happy because their paradigms are getting broken. Can you imagine if you went to church every single day, you know, or every twice a day for your entire life, and they like removed it from your life? That's a painful paradigm for some people. But we didn't take God away, but we took the box away, and that's a paradigm for some people that I feel compassion. Like, I know what they're feeling. It's uncomfortable because that's a habit and a pattern. And so when we look at those and go, okay, I got to reset my programming of my mind to be at a higher dimension of time and space, to go, I can still get to source and spirit. And you all know that I teach body, mind, spirit. Well, the piece that keeps lacking,
Yeah.
we work on our body, and we work on our money and anything body to touch, and we work on our minds, and I got to be better. But we forget to go, okay, God, okay, angels, okay, spirit guides, okay, universe, what do I need to do to be more spiritual, more enlightened, more happier, more peaceful? And so to end on this call, to your point, what do you do when you're in the heat of the moment? Do you want peace or do you want the heat? Which do you want? Right?
Peace.
And we just kind of have to remind ourselves on that space is, when I'm in that moment, I always ask myself too, when I'm falling down, do I want peace and to just roll with it, or do I want to fight it and resist it? And there's a part of me that I have programmed patterns just like everybody else, you know, and they show up, we're like, doggone it, like, you know, why is it that way, or whatever the case may be. And you know, there's no why. It's just, we all have this amazing purpose and essential reason to be here on this planet, and we all fit in a puzzle. And we're all meant to be here. We all chose to be here, so why not be? You are all perfect little lighthouses that need to go out and shine your DMT. Does that help?
That helps a lot. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, guys, let me pull her up here. All right. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed that tonight. I know I went a little deep on the whole DMT and chemicals and spiritual and emotional, but that's what's coming up. That is what's coming up on the planet. It's what you are not going to get out of. It is important that you all understand that psychologically, external is trying to come down on all of us and make us feel less than. And I just refuse to allow anybody in my vibrational field and my DMT, you know, lighthouse to feel anything other than incredibly, brilliantly, beautifully powerful and strong, because you guys are. You guys are amazing, and I am completely blessed to be around all of you. And when things feel heavy, know that they're pushing you. Remember that pain and emotions, when they show up, they're your soul shakers. They're just getting your soul to wake up, so you'll go do what you came here to do. And I love that for all of you. So we're at the end of the call. Remember, these calls, they take about 24 hours for the YouTube to be on replay. You should be able to get into YouTube, but I just want you to know that it's always going to be there next day, so you can replay it, you can share it. Please share these with everybody that you know, so you can help them start sharing their light and sharing their Care Bear DMT energy from their heart and their lighthouse. And remember that you're just dealing with some relationship stuff. You all know you can go to the website, ideserveitnow.com, and go open up the toolbox. It has relationship stuff there. It has opening up, the reason I bring that up is you don't need to be in a relationship to do the couples toolbox. Get to know yourself, right? Remember that. Get to know who you are. And remember that those are the things that are more important than anything else, is filling up your well, filling up your lighthouse, so that you are always walking around as a higher spiritual being, and everybody will start following your lead. Okay, I'm going to send you guys from the 10,000 viewpoint so much love, so many pink hearts, so many blue, orange, yellow, every color of the rainbow. I'm going to share all this blanket of love. It will bless all of you. It will enlighten all of you. If you all need me, you know how to find me, ideserveitnow.com, or just ping me here and we will, I'll get you some ideas and information. I'm so happy to see you all. Have a great night, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye, guys.